Tad Talker Web is back. And whoo, man. You know how like when you go to church with your mama back in the 80s and the 90s and you done messed up and she gives you that face like you done messed up and she yanks you outside and takes that belt straight to your ass? That's what happened today. We got taken behind the woodshed, behind the side of the church with a belt, straight to the ass. Over. And hats off to Georgia. They played a great game. They were ready to go. They were ready to rock. They had corrected the mistakes of the first game. Got a nasty thing hanging off my hat there. Anyway, they looked prepared. I'm not gonna lie to you. We came in there and looked totally like we didn't practice all week. Hate to say it, it was the worst game Ryan Grubbs has called. I mean, the first drive we go out there and we run 3 times and have to kick. You didn't pass once. Things like that were just very odd. I would break down the drive by drive, but pretty much we just got taken to the woodshed. There's no reason to break it down drive by drive and things like that. Some things that really stood out was they dominated where we didn't. Like I said, some stats that really, when you look at the team stats that really jump out at you. First downs really that wasn't a huge difference. Like I said, Georgia had 16, we had 11. Third down efficiency, they didn't do good either. They were 6 of 16 and we were 3 of 14. Fourth down efficiency, they were 2 of 2 and we were 1 of 3. Total yards was not massively different either. They had a total of 297 yards and we had 202. Passing, we actually did a little bit better than them. Or sorry, yeah, passing we did a little bit better. They had 156 and we had 212. Like I said, that was kind of all here and there. We had an interception, obviously, on the tip to Everett, Georgia defensive back. This is a huge stat that really, and we've been harping on this all year. Every Bama fan has been harping on this all year. And really, for 3 years, and I even talked about it on a previous podcast that Saturday Down South mentioned that no team had won a national championship that averaged under 120 yards rushing per game in the last 25 years since the year 2000. Georgia rushed for 141 total yards. We had -3. -3. So that was huge. Like I said, rush per yards, they only averaged three yards a rush. So our defense did really hold them in check. We per rush, we averaged -0.2. So yeah, and Georgia also, hats off to them. They did what we did the first game. They had time of possession almost 37 minutes straight total time together. We had 23. That was a stat that really jumped out there. Like I said, we really couldn't get the ball going. I think we've all said it for a long time that, it's something that's got to be fixed. The offensive line really has been broken for 3 years, and it did not get any better this year. I'm not one to gut reaction and say, let's fire so-and-so, let's fire this person. I'm sorry, we need to look for a new offensive line coach. Yes, we knew there was a problem. Yes, we went and got a lot of linemen in this recruiting class, but I'm telling you, this guy has to go. This offensive coach we need to make a change there. It really was a difference of being dominated on both sides of the ball, but really the defense didn't give up any long drives. There was no long drives. I mean, we had the turnover, we had the sloppy ass punt with extra steps that I don't know what was going on there. We gave them short fields for this stuff. Like I said, the defense wasn't bad. They never had long drives on us. We couldn't get a turnover. I mean, that was evident, and it's just like, and let me go ahead and pay tribute to Gunnar Stockton. He really came along in the second half of the year. Very good. He was 20 of 26, 156 yards and 3 touchdowns. He wasn't amazing, but he did what he had to do. And he was complimented. Let me say it again, complimented by a good offensive line and a very, very good run game, which we could not do at all. And we just, and I hate to say it, I love Jam Miller. He wouldn't have made a difference in this game. I'm sorry, it just wouldn't have made a difference. I mean, And I said it all week and I preached it all week. I was worried about playing the same team twice. It's hard to beat the same team twice. I was worried about it. I was also worried about the fact of all of our injuries. I mean, 2 tight ends out, Overton out, um, Jan Miller out, multiple linemen banged up, limping off the field. Just, and it was tough. Like I said, and if you look at, like I said, even if you look at the yards they rushed for, it wasn't astounding. I mean, Bowens had 4 carries for 39 yards. Frazier had 13 for 52. And really, it came down to they had a better offensive line. They could sustain a few drives. Now we gave them short fields. That was plain as day to see. Another problem was Ty Simpson looked scared. We thought he had overcome it midseason. We thought we were gaining some ground there. That did not happen. He looked very scared. He had jittery feet. He some plays missed wide open people because he didn't even see them and threw to somebody who was covered. Like I said, that was perplexing. Hold up, sorry. Another thing that didn't make a lot of sense was, in the fourth quarter, we have 8 minutes left. Our defense is at least holding. They are getting stops. DeBoer gets scared, and I didn't understand this. You went for it on 4th and 1, and we're not getting third downs. Like we're 6 of 16. We're 4 of 14. We're not making third downs at all. And you go for it in 4th and 1, call a crazy play, and don't get it, and you just give them 7. And at that point, it was 21-7. Now don't get me wrong. Again on offense, we left 14 points on the board. Ryan Williams had one. It was a tougher catch, but you had your hands on it. Nobody swatted it out of your hands. You had your hands on it in the end zone. Would have been 7. Jeremy Bernard tipped pass, deflected. I get. You got to make that. You got to make that play. That's 7 more points. It's 21-28. We still lose it, but you're in the playoffs. And I'm sorry. I'm just going to be very honest with you. Not only did we get belt to ass from Georgia, we don't deserve to be in the playoffs. And, there's a precedent by the playoff committee. They have never had 2 teams in the bigger conferences like the ACC, the SEC, and the Big Ten not go from the conference champions game, the conference championship game, not go to the playoffs. That's going to happen now. I promise you. You might as well sit in your tidy whities and your socks and eat yogurt on the side of your bed and cry because it's over. Tomorrow, it's all over. Because what they're going to do is they're not going to want controversy over there between Notre Dame and Miami, and Miami is getting in. Like, I hate to say it. And the playoff committee is not going to look at body of work that we had. They're not going to look that we beat this same team in Athens at home on a Saturday night. They're not going to look at that. And that our resume is better, but that's what's going to happen. It's either going to be Notre Dame or Miami, probably Miami, and Notre Dame's probably anyway. And I'm not saying we deserve to be in, but in this whole thing, Luke Robinson on Locked On Bama said it perfect. He said, there's about 4 great teams that are in this playoff, and there's a bunch of dented soup cans. And yes, Alabama right now is a dented soup can, but we still deserve to be there because of body of work. But we're not going to get there. And I don't really blame them if we don't get there. Now, this Bama team, if we go to the playoffs like this, we'll probably lose. I get it. Do we deserve to be there for body of work? Yeah. But I'm not going to be butthurt if we don't, because it is what it is. Like I said all week, and I've been saying this for 2 years, the playoffs and having 12 teams make the SEC championship, the Big Ten championship, and the ACC championship worthless. Because there's 4 outcomes you can have to this, right? You can have the 4, and the one is you win it and go on and everything's okay. You have the one where you win it and you get a quarterback or some linemen critically hurt for the playoffs. You get really banged up. You don't win it and you lose out of the playoffs, or you just go play and you get all banged up and have an extra game and you can't heal up. And like I said, there's only 3 of those situations that are bad. One of them is good, and all 4 of them, 3 are bad. And so I don't even understand why we're sitting here, why we even need the conference championships. Do it like basketball. Call it the end of the season, end of the regular season. Be like, well, so-and-so won it. Cool. It would be Georgia. Just like, well, Georgia won it. Bama comes in second. Because like I said, you go into this whole deal and, say you go into it, you win it, which is great. you go into it and you win it, but you lose a quarterback or you lose some 3 or 4 critical players, so you go in the playoff limping, or you lose it and don't get in, or you just win it. That's the only good situation. You just win it and there's no injuries. So I honestly just, yeah. And I'm not going to lie. And if Georgia was sitting where we're sitting, and I'm going to be honest with you, I would be saying the same thing. It's still garbage and they deserve to be in it. But I will say this too, that if we're left out of it, if I'm Greg Sankey, I'm just going to be honest. I'm going to fight for my league and say, and I'm going to burn the ship to the ground. I'm literally going to say, you know what? We're not having an SEC championship no more. Notre Dame don't have one, so there's no point. Look at all the teams that don't go, sit out, and still go to the playoffs. So what I'm going to do is we're not going to have an SEC championship anymore, and we're just going to call it at the end of the season. Like this season, it would have been Georgia and Alabama. You come runner up, second runner up, and we're going to sit at home and let everybody else play because there's no point in doing this because it doesn't serve any purpose. And if Notre Dame doesn't have to join a conference, and if they don't want to join, they shouldn't be made to join one, but it doesn't penalize them. So, okay. And like I said, and if Miami gets in over Bama, which I think is crazy, you have 2 undefeated teams that beat you, and you have a bum schedule. So it is what it is. Like I said, hopefully Alabama can be one of the dented soup cans that get in. I don't know. I highly doubt we will. But I put forward my argument why we should. But, we got belt to ass, so it is what it is. And the playoff committee is not going to care. They're going to set another precedent. Last year they set a precedent. Hey, all conference participants in the conference championships, they get in. Okay, cool. But then again, if you come back this year and say, well, Bama, you lost by 1 too many touchdowns, you're not getting in. Well, that's when Greg Sankey needs to be a man, stand up and say, well, we're not even going to have the conference championship anymore. We're just going to call it at the end of the year, the winner and the runner-up, and then we're going to the playoffs. And I think Notre Dame is brilliant by not joining a conference and not having to go to a conference championship. I think that's great. It's a great thing. So, I applaud them for that, and I think Greg Sankey needs to look into that. Another thing is, our defense did pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and just kind of give them kudos, even though we lost the game. We held Georgia under 300 points. This loss really is just on the ineffectiveness of the offense. I mean, just couldn't convert third downs. You couldn't have a drive. We just couldn't hit people that were wide open. Ty Simpson's anxiety, it looked like it was back and through the roof. It was just really bad. And getting back to the playoff picture too, I just think you're doing a disservice too, because you're going to have in my opinion, you're going to have a bigger controversy because if you say, okay, well, Bama's out, Miami, you're in, or whatever, I think it's really, really setting a bad precedence because you don't think Vanderbilt is better than Miami? Vanderbilt right now could be half the playoff field going into the playoffs. And you think Miami's better than Texas at this moment? Not buying it. Not buying it. And you may say, well, they're kind of dented soup cans. They may be, but they got a better body of work, and they're better than Miami. It is what it is. Like I said, again, hats off to Georgia. You did great. More than likely, right now where I'm sitting, Georgia, and this weekend, when you see how the conference championships lined up, we can look at that here. Hats off to Indiana. You won. You beat Ohio State. Texas Tech looked dominant against BYU. Like I said, Tulane beat North Texas, and then James Madison dominated Troy. Out of all those games, the number 2 team beat the number 1. The number 17 team got beat by the unranked Duke. Obviously, number 3 Georgia beat number 9 Alabama. Number 4 Texas Tech dominated BYU. Number 11 Tulane busted number 22 Tulane busted number 24 North Texas, and then number 25 James Madison dominated undefeated Troy. So majority of like I said, about all those games, the better team did win. But Ohio State, like I said, I got to give props to Indiana. I'm super impressed. I didn't call that game. I thought Ohio State would win it in the second and third and the fourth quarter. I thought they were really good. I thought Virginia would honestly dominate Duke. And hats off to Duke and Indiana. You did really great. And you went out there and you got a hard fought victory. That's why the games are played on the field and not on paper. So it's interesting. The playoff committee, to me, doesn't have that hard of a job. You're just going to switch up Ohio State, Indiana, whatever. And to me, right now, you need to put Georgia number one, and probably Indiana number two, and probably Ohio State number four. And then however else you get the rest of the teams in there and the other Denton soup cans. And it's going to be interesting. Tomorrow is going to be very telling about kind of how it turns out and how things go. And, but like I said, I'm considering Alabama. We're out of it. Like I said, I think if that does happen, and even if Georgia was in our spot, I think Greg Sankey needs to step up to the plate and burn it down and do something drastic for the SEC conference in general. Like I said, and, teams like Vandy and Texas also have a better argument than Miami. I'm just going to say that right now. So, but we'll see. Like I said, we'll see how it turns out. And it's going to be very interesting to see how it comes down to the wire. In my opinion, like I said, Bama's finished. And we're looking at a bowl game. So as you're going into that mindset, going into next year, what do we need to fix? Well, Todd Simpson's anxiety, right? Number one, offensive line. We got to get that shored up because you're not going anywhere if you can't block anybody. And we've got to fix the run game. Those are the big things because tonight proved you got to be able to pass, but damn it, you got to be able to run. You got to be able to run. And I think to be in the mix of a top 6-7 playoff team, you got to be averaging 120 yards a game on the ground. I'm sorry, that has to happen. That starts off with the big hog mollies up front. You got to be able to run. That is something, and DeBoer gets paid big money. That's something in the offseason, he's got to figure out what we got to do. Do we need to bring in some extra linemen in the portal? Do we need to bring in one or two receivers in the portal? In my opinion, you need a new offensive line coach. 15 coaches got fired this year? Go find the one that had the best offensive line coach and line. That's something that has to happen. We can't win on passing alone. It's very evident. I don't care if you're in the ACC. I don't care if you're in the Big Ten. I don't care if you're in the Pac-10. I don't care if you're in the old Big 12 conference. And especially in the SEC, you got to be able to run the ball. You got to be able to pass too. But by God, you got to be able to tote the rock. You have to. So with that said, we also need a little bit better pass rush. So said that to say this. Bama, I'm proud of you. I'm proud of the season you had. I'm proud of all the wins you had. I'm proud of you going through the gauntlet and doing what you had to do. I kind of hate to see the way it ended for you guys, but it's okay. The sun will come up tomorrow. It is another day, and every loss is a learning lesson, and that's for anything in life. Every loss is a learning lesson to building it better. So with that said, Kalen DeBoer, learning lesson, let's get better, and let's move forward from here. And that's all we can do, and we love it, and we love the Tide, and let's hunker down. Maybe we'll get a miracle tomorrow. Maybe we'll be in the playoffs. I don't know. Maybe we'll be one of the few broken, dented, busted up, raggedy-ass soup cans in the playoff, and that would be wonderful. I think the guys deserve it, but we'll see. I don't know. Probably not, but, if not, we'll get back to the drawing board, get in the portal, do what we got to do, and go forward from here and get a better offensive line and make it happen. And if not, we'll get ready for the playoffs. Hopefully the banged-up guys, Cuevos and Lewis and, Overton, hopefully they get healed up and everything's better and we can get going on the road, maybe get a playoff win. We'll see, because apparently it looks like we've been playing A&M. They're one of the top 3 teams I got in the country right now, and I don't think we beat them because they're very good. And even then, if we beat them, we'd have to go play Georgia again. So, with that being said, another great reason not to have an SEC championship. Just going to throw it out there, and I'm going to be saying this till the end of time. Let's get rid of it. Anyway, I'm excited to see what holds for Bama. I'm excited to see what the future holds for Bama, and I hope we can get it going. We'll see what happens tomorrow, whether we get in or whether we don't get in. I'll do another video, and I love y'all, and tomorrow's a new day, and let's keep it rolling. Tide Talk Web is out.